I am seeing top producing agents, and I've seen this over 15 years plus. Top producing real estate agents make a lot of the same common mistakes. And I feel like as realtors start to get more business, these mistakes become more prevalent. And I'm not saying all realtors are like this, but definitely a good chunk of the people at the top are. I'm seeing it way too much. So as they get too much business, they don't have as much time. They don't read everything and they miss things. They don't spend as much time on their contracts and they miss boxes. They miss terms. And then they don't want to hold themselves accountable because they have this big reputation to maintain. This I've seen time and time again when I work with top producers. I see they are some of the sloppiest people I ever work with. And it goes both ways. Some top producers can be the very best of the best, the nicest, the most ethical people imaginable, very organized, very disciplined. And then you get the other side, where you get the worst realtors ever. And they're up at the top because they cut corners, they cheat, they lie, they steal. But you know what? How much referral business are they going to get? They don't care because they get deal after deal after deal. They keep getting deals. They don't even need repeat business. And sometimes their customers are afraid to not work with them. I've seen that as well, where realtors straight up intimidate and bully their clients into working with them. And this is one of the worst realtors I've seen from back in Marin County where I started in the business. That is one of the strategies they've used. And I've seen this with other realtors. A good example of this would be a deal I did recently where there were 2 listing agents and one of them was the broker of a top company here. So they definitely know what's going on. They were brought on board as the co-listing agent simply to make sure that nothing bad happened. Like they didn't accept bad terms, like they read everything. Well, 2 agents for the price of a quarter of one is what that turned into. It was me as the buyer's agent bringing in the buyer, and there's these 2 listing agents, and one of them had been in the business 30 years, and she didn't feel, for whatever reason, she brought in the co-broker. But I don't recall exactly why she did that. It doesn't matter. They maybe just wanted to delegate some responsibilities. That's fine. This person, they were wonderful people for the record. They're very wonderful to talk to and deal with, very ethical. Now, this is the problem though that they did. First of all, they told me what their seller would take, the bottom dollar, because they were tired of being on the market for so long and the listing was about to expire. So I took advantage of that, let my buyers know that, and that helped us out. Turned into a multiple offer situation. I had the best terms. So they thought. I did have good terms, but the listing agents believed our offer was all cash. It wasn't. It was contingent upon the sale of a property in another state that was contingent upon attorney review, drilling, air sampling. It was a big mess. And the fact that we got that in contract and got that contingency closed and got all our extensions was incredible and testament only to me and my ability to convince them that we were able to move forward when I wasn't even entirely sure if we could. I was relying on an agent in another state who was completely unresponsive, and my clients needed to get these extensions. And I believed, I had no reason not to, that this would get moved along. Oh my gosh, we had to get so many extensions, but we got it closed. And they probably could have closed it with somebody else, but they didn't. But here's the point, is that those listing agents at one point contacted me after we had been in escrow for about 2 months and said, yeah, we thought your offer really wasn't all cash at all. And I'm sitting there going, of course it wasn't all cash. It was contingent upon the sale of a commercial property that was contingent upon all this stuff it was a miracle we got that thing sold at all. Especially when you get an attorney involved. In a real estate deal, there's an attorney. Oh gosh, that attorney. And guess what? That attorney totally screwed things up, almost killed the deal. And this happens all the time. From my experience, when an attorney gets involved, they get overly litigious, overly into lingo. And then she didn't check her email. And it was as simple as not checking their email that almost killed the deal. Back to the lack of responsiveness that I've talked about in my last videos. It kills me. Lack of responsiveness is such a deal killer. So the least you can do is answer your phone, understand the terms and sloppiness of listing agents. They refuse to acknowledge their mistakes and would rather cancel the deal than admit their mistakes. Now me, I am very happy to admit I'm not happy to admit my mistakes, but I will freely admit my mistakes to my clients because it shows transparency. It shows that I'm a human, I'm not a robot. I make mistakes too. I try not to, but we all do. Point is, there's a lot of sloppiness with agents who get a lot of business. And just because you have 2 agents, it doesn't mean you have 2 agents working twice as hard. It could be 2 agents working half as much. But if it's just me and all the responsibility is on my shoulders, you bet your butt I'm going to make sure I don't make any mistakes. I'm going to comb through that contract 3, 4, 5 times before I send it, before I send any document. I'm going to read and reread that, especially the really important terms. And then when I write a letter, and this is what blew me away, how they didn't understand our offer was not all cash, is because when I do a letter to listing agents, I have a very specific process. And part of that process is a cover letter. And the cover letter states the terms one after another. And one of those is purchase price, earnest money deposit, time frames for wiring, contingency time frames, and whether it's contingent or not. And I stated clearly it was contingent upon the sale of a current escrow in California. There's a commercial deal that required all sorts of things. I was very clear and transparent about that. I was not trying to hide a thing. But somehow the broker of a top company here and a co-listing agent who had been in the business decades missed the fact that this was a completely contingent deal. Not just a contingent deal, but a really brutal contingent deal that totally could not have sold. So thankfully, my clients got into the property. They got into the property and they saved a lot of money. I got it less than the price than the bottom dollar they told me their client would take. And so they saved all this money. They got instant equity in that property because we're already way below the cost per square foot. It was such a nice home. No homes with pools, no homes with backyards in the area. One of the nicest neighborhoods here in Carson City. I'm so happy for them. I was very honest the whole time, totally transparent. And for that reason, they're going to consider using me from now on. I don't run on a burning bridge like Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom, cutting the rope. You know what? I live and die by my ethics. Without ethics, I have nothing. Without my integrity, I am nobody. And the very least I can do is pride myself on my ethics. And that's what I'm going to do for you. And that's why I recommend if you're buying or selling anywhere in the United States, give me a call. And if you don't have a realtor, I'll help you find the realtor that's right for you. What kind of buyer or seller are you? I'll find that out. What kind of realtor do you need or would you like to be with? Those factors, all these questions, I've done this before. I've been doing this a long time. Don't let this baby face fool you. I've been doing this since 2008, but I was even raised in real estate. So I pride myself in taking care of people, whether I have something to gain or not. So give me a call, contact me, realtorericbyers.com, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. But wishing you the very best in your real estate goals and helping you pursue your real estate dreams and desires. Yours truly, Eric Byers.